Now from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Cody Johnson with news from around the Columbia Basin for Tuesday, April 2nd. Tonight we report on the sentencing of a man guilty of setting a string of fires in Soap Lake and the demolition of a long-standing Ephrata building. We look at how the county commissioners are considering closing garbage drop boxes to save money and how one 911 dispatcher sent her mom to the rescue. In sports, we'll take a look at the Mariners opener yesterday against the Oakland A's, and we have news about the Seahawks' latest trade. Our spotlight story tonight is about a new tax proposed on dancing. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. Our top story tonight, a man accused of setting fires across Soap Lake in September is going to jail. Rory Ogden pleaded guilty to reckless burning in the first degree and malicious mischief in the second degree in Grant County Superior Court. The 49-year-old Soap Lake man was sentenced to 3.5 months in jail. His first fire was set in a field on Main Avenue on September 24th. The second fire was at the golf course on 2nd Avenue. The third fire was at an old elementary school, and when a police officer went inside, he found a 20-foot by 20-foot area in flames. A fourth fire was set on Fern Street. A 66-year-old building on Ephrata's Basin Street is gone. Demolition started this week on the former location of Denny's Pit Stop. Ephrata realtor Jack Patrick said the land is being cleared. Half of the ground is being rented to the neighboring espresso stand and half to Barry Chrysler. The building started its history as an expansion to a Ford dealership. Following World War II, the owner decided he needed more space and had the building constructed. The dealership stayed until the early 1980s when it was foreclosed on. It was purchased by Sam Israel in 1984 and remained vacant until Denny's Pit Stop rented it about 10 years ago. The auto repair shop operated in the building until last January when it was closed. Patrick explained it was less expensive to tear down the building than to do the renovations necessary to rent it. If any renovation equals more than 50% of the assessed value, then the city code requires it to be brought up to the city code. People dumping their garbage at Grant County drop boxes may need to find another place to take their trash. The Solid Waste Advisory Committee is recommending closing the remaining 7 drop boxes throughout the county to save money. If the county commissioners agree with the recommendations, the boxes in George and O'Sullivan would close this year, followed by the Royal City, Warden, and Wilson Creek boxes in July of 2014, and finally the boxes in Mattawa and Cooley City in July of 2015. The commissioners plan to hold a public meeting to discuss the plan on April 16th from 4 to 5 p.m. at the commissioners' hearing room located on the 2nd floor of the Grant County Courthouse in Ephrata. A previous request to look at closing the 9 remaining drop boxes in 2009 was met with public resistance. At the time, the county reported the boxes cost nearly twice the approximate $117,000 in revenue they generate. A Quincy boy is in critical condition after he crashed his dirt bike yesterday. The 16-year-old boy was riding the Yamaha TTR 230 dirt bike on private property near Adams Road South when he crashed into a fence. Grant County Sheriff's Office deputies, along with Grant County Fire District 3 and Protection 1, responded at about 1 p.m. The victim was not wearing a helmet at the time, and was knocked unconscious, suffering a serious head injury. He was flown to Cadillac Medical Center in the Tri-Cities and listed in critical condition. Sheriff Tom Jones said this is an awful reminder of the importance of wearing a helmet when driving or riding motorcycles or other off-road vehicles. Each of the people you see here have warrants for their arrest and are wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. We'll be right back after these messages with the latest from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center, and we've got sports and more news on the way.